blockchain scaling and the next generation internet and cloud. By Adam Waldenberg, Unigrid.
Testing. Hi. Yeah, a small crowd, but hopefully we can get through it. I'm Adam Waldenberg, and I'm one of the co-founders of Unigrid. And today, I want to talk to you about blockchain scaling and how we believe that kind of thinking a little bit outside the box opens up the possibility for a global cloud that can run all over the world and open up, an equal competition between all businesses and kind of create and maybe shatter the monopoly that we have today on the market. So yeah, let's start about talking about the central ledger and how traditional blockchain solutions are kind of unsuitable for data storage. And when you use them for data storage, they often cause a lot of congestion and problems. And one of the solutions that are used is to limit transactions by limiting block speeds and the size of the blocks, right? And there's also a problem with traditional blockchain solutions because they are immutable. So once you store something there, it's always there. And that kind of results in massive waste of storage and also memory consumption, because you have to keep track of all of this somewhere. So some of the solutions that kind of other projects have employed is to increase the block size and the block speed, and that kind of just makes things worse because, it just inflates the chain even more. And another thing is to introduce side chains or extra networks to kind of facilitate scaling. And that kind of is a solution that kind of works a little bit, but the problem is that it's kind of temporary, because even if you do that, the central ledger, where you store much of the transactions, is going to get congested eventually. And another attempt has been to shard the whole ledger, but that creates a bunch of other problems. So Ethereum is an example of a network that has tried this for a while, and they didn't really succeed yet, at least. Yeah, and another problem is privacy. When you store something on a traditional blockchain, things in that address are there forever. So it's impossible to comply with GDPR if you consider addresses personal information. And yeah, so you have to kind of do it differently. So I'm going to break this up a little bit with a promotional video that we have just for fun.
Tell me a bedtime story, Daddy.
Once upon a time, in the not-so-distant past, the internet was less stable.
Is it true the websites on the internet could go down back before I was born, Daddy?
Oh, it's true. Back in those times, the internet was controlled by big corporations. They had a big monopoly. Like vultures, they consumed and held your data hostage. They didn't care about outages because they knew there was nothing better.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it was. People accepted it because they didn't know that something better could exist. But then, sometime before you were born, things began to change. They called it the Renaissance of the Internet. Today, we're free, and we no longer have to worry about any of that.
Okay, so let's talk about the current internet and how centralized hosting is kind of causing a problem. Today, it's really easy to attack services and with DDoS attacks and kind of disrupt them. This is because most of the servers are in centralized locations in big data centers. So if someone attacks that route, it's going to be congested and you get issues. And another thing is, can you actually trust your provider when you put data with a private company? Do you know what they are doing with it? And do you know if they will actually keep it safe? And in a way, despite the blockchain movement, this trend where things are ending up in huge data centers is kind of centralizing the internet. And about 70% of all the traffic goes through three companies today. We kind of like to call them the cloud mafia. And they kind of, right now, they can overcharge customers. And if you want redundancy, you have to pay extra. It's not an inherent part of their solution. It has to come from your pocket. So we kind of want to break that monopoly and create an even ground where everyone, even smaller companies, can compete with these huge cloud providers. Yeah, so democratic network that is autonomous, it scales. So that kind of means that if you add more nodes to it, more blockchains are going to be added. And obviously, like a traditional cloud provider, this network will support not only compute work, but also storage and also anonymous internet access. And it's transactionless. So in a sense, that kind of allows us to support basically an infinite amount of transactions per second. If the network grows, it will support more transactions. And also comply with GDPR. Because we use these little blockchains that are actually mutable. So they can be reorganized and blocks can actually be removed. Yeah, and how do we actually achieve this? It's done by splitting the data up into little pieces and storing it in each little blockchain. So think of it as a traditional server where you have many disks to kind of add redundancy. If one disk disappears, no data disappears. You can even lose multiple disks, and it still works. The concept is the same here, but instead of disks, we use blockchains. And we want it to be democratic, as mentioned before. So anyone should be able to join, give some collateral, and run a grid node. Jesus, here we go. No, sorry. So grid nodes, yeah. Anyone can join the network with one of these. They are scored on performance. So if you join with a better grid node, you get more work from the network. And again, anybody should be able to join this. Yeah, and that's kind of what we're doing. And if you want to know more and talk to us a little bit to kind of learn exactly what this is, you can visit us in booth G3 in the gold aisle. And let's build a better internet and cloud. Thank you.